So here you have it on the left, Dana Bash, okay? We all know she's not a journalist. She's an activist, okay? And we all know it. We can see through these lies. We can see through these screens, okay? And she's out here getting absolutely annihilated by Tim Scott, okay? Where's my cursor at? You guys can see it. There we go. Boom. Tim Scott. And yes, Jedi Tim Scott, Sith Lord Dana Bash, and Tim Scott absolutely annihilates her. So before we get into this, I just want to say and acknowledge the King Squad. Shout out to the King Squad family, and the King Squad elites. You guys are the bomb.com. You guys are awesome. And I appreciate each and every single one of you guys, okay? You guys are awesome. Don't let anybody tell you any different, all right? And I want to say, shout out to everybody who emails me, keeps me updated on what's going on. Thank you to everyone who donates to the channel. None of you guys are unnoticed, and all of you are appreciated, okay? And with that being said, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Share these videos so more people can be exposed to the truth of what's going on out here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We post very consistently. And with that being said, let's get right into it. I will give my commentary periodically throughout the video, more so on the back end.
We are 48 hours to Election Day, but the last 48 hours haven't exactly been on message for the Republican nominee. Here with me to talk about that and much more is a big Trump supporter, Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Thank you so much for being here, sir. You have been out on the campaign trail. I know that you have been, good morning, talking to and voting, campaigning for not only Donald Trump, but Republican candidates for Senate. You're trying to turn out black and low propensity voters, among others. The polls we've seen in the last 24 hours show evidence that late deciders are breaking for Kamala Harris. Do you think that Trump's rhetoric in these closing days is hurting him with those voters?
Well, I'll just tell you that the voters I sat down with in Detroit, Michigan on Tuesday, Ohio on Wednesday, and Philly on Thursday, African Americans, Hispanics, Jewish voters, all seem to have momentum behind Donald Trump. It's going to be a very, very good day for Donald Trump on Tuesday. And frankly, McCormick will win Pennsylvania. Without question, Bernie Moreno will win Ohio. And I'm really confident that Mike Rogers will win Michigan as well. And the reason why is that the voters are listening to our closing arguments on the border. They're listening to it on crime. They're really excited about school choice. We did a school choice event in Philly, Dana. We had a very strong cross-section of the voters from Philadelphia showing up to talk about the really important issue of making sure that their kids have a better.
Do you guys see the TDS in her? Okay, she looks like she's about to explode. I just had to say that.
chance for success by giving the parents choice in education. So the issues that we are focusing on in these last 48 hours are the issues that the voters say are top of their mind.
I want to get to a little bit more of that in 1 second, but I do want to just quickly jump ahead to Election Day and what happens after Election Day, because one of Donald Trump's allies, Steve Bannon, who was released from prison this week, told the New York Times that Trump should simply declare victory on election night, regardless of the results. Here's what he said. He should stand up and say, hey, I've won this. And we have teams right now that are going to make sure that this thing is not going to be stolen. That was his advice to Trump 4 years ago. That's what Trump did 4 years ago. It led directly to January 6th. Will you urge the former president not to prematurely declare victory again and allow the process to play out so the American people can trust the final legitimate outcome?
Dana, we're looking forward to a very good day on Tuesday night without any question. I'm excited to see that the battleground states that we just talked about are all leaning towards Trump. So the good news is we will have a fair election and Donald Trump will be our next president. I look at the facts that in Wisconsin, when I was in Wisconsin just recently, the voters are heading in our direction. And the good news is 2 out of 3 voters want to vote in person in Wisconsin, even though they have mail-in ballots. You just showed a stat a few minutes ago where 400,000 votes swing towards Republicans in Pennsylvania. You take the number of Democrats not voting and the number of Republicans who have registered, and that's before you add on top of that the 300,000 Jewish voters who find themselves being polarized away from the Democrat Party. This is going to be a very good election, and we, the people, will make that decision.
I appreciate your optimism. That's your job on the eve of the election. But what I'm asking about is what if he doesn't win? And the fact of the matter is that Trump is already spreading false claims about cheating in Pennsylvania. He has repeatedly predicted a massive victory, even though polls show that the race is very close. He's setting the stage for his supporters not to believe the results if he loses. Do you want him to stop doing that?
I would never tell any candidate on the ballot to talk about what happens if they lose. Obviously, you're going to lean into the victory, especially
I
when the
appreciate
latest
that, Senator.
polls
Forgive me,
in battleground states
but spreading
says
false
that you're
rumors.
running forward. You're running ahead of your candidate.
Totally,
Bill,
but saying false
Dana,
things
you and I
about
disagree on this one.
fraud
Totally disagree on this
is
one.
not. You think it's okay to spread false rumors about fraud and under?
Well, what are you, his mother? You think it's okay to do that? I'm gonna go get the belt. Who does she think she is? How do you're talking to a grown man? Like, why are you talking like down to him? You think it's okay to do that? Like, she sounds like a parent.
Undermine the integrity of the election, regardless.
Disagree on this one.
Fraud.
Totally disagree on this
is
one.
not. You think it's okay to spread false rumors about fraud and undermine the integrity of the election, regardless of what happens?
Dana, the liberal media has done a better job of spreading misinformation than
Senator.
any candidate I've seen so far. That's true. Listen, here's the fact. We're not seeing the coverage of 2 assassination attempts on CNN
We
against
did
Donald
wall-to-wall
Trump. We're not seeing the
coverage.
comments about Kamala Harris talking about fascists, calling Donald Trump a fascist.
John Kelly
we
called
should
him a
focus on
fascist.
giving
His former
the
chief
American
of
people
staff.
the opportunity, giving, and she repeated it, giving people the
Well, wouldn't
opportunity
you, if
to make their own
Kamala
decisions.
Harris's former
That's
chief
what we
of staff
Americans-
called her a fascist? I would guess that you would repeat it too. And Donald Trump has called him one as well.
The bottom line is this, Dana. Bottom line is this. We should focus on the issues that the American people are talking about. They're talking about the greatest invasion across our southern border. Black communities across this country, particularly in inner cities, are talking about the devastation of the presence of Venezuelan gangs leading to more crime. We're talking about a rise in the unemployment rate of African Americans. Of course, black men are now more open to the Republican Party and specifically Donald Trump because the numbers are in. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they've done a terrible job addressing the issues of black men. Therefore, looking at the Donald Trump years, we saw low unemployment and high enthusiasm.
I want to allow you to make your point, which I just did, but I can't let go of the fact that you are saying it is the media spreading claims. It is not true.
What is wrong with you? It is the media. Like, what encourages somebody to go and get a gun and go, you know what? They're tired of Trump. Like what got into that person's head? How about the mainstream media's lies? How about that? Calling this man Hitler reincarnated, okay, saying he's a dictator, saying he's a fascist. I mean, it's the mainstream media, and the liberals run the mainstream media. It's just common sense, but I forgot. We're talking about liberals and common sense. You know, they're antonyms.
True. It is.
High enthusiasm.
I want to allow you to make your point, which I just did, but I can't let go of the fact that you are saying it is the media spreading claims. It is not true. It is Donald Trump who is saying things that are Donald Trump is saying things just about Pennsylvania, just one example that local officials are saying is not true. We saw what happened on January 6th as a result of that and many other things. You were there at the Capitol. Are you saying right now, you want to leave this conversation and say you are okay with his rhetoric?
Well, Dana, what I'm going to tell you is the truth. The Supreme Court and local courts in Pennsylvania have ruled in favor of the Trump campaign this election cycle.
But this has nothing to do. That has
the
nothing to
Supreme
do
Court
with what he's saying.
made changes prospectively. You're asking the question about voter integrity, election integrity.
Right.
I'm giving you the answer. We've seen a strong shift in the right direction, and that's reasons for us to be optimistic that this election will be fair. I'm of course going to say my candidate is going to win because the polls reinforce that fact, and the evidence I'm seeing on the ground only highlights or magnifies the fact that Donald Trump is doing very well in the battleground states. We are not just optimistic, we are going to be motivated, which will allow us to mobilize our voters. This election will be decided by the turnout.
So if you believe, you just said that you believe that the election will be free and fair. So does that mean that you are confident
Yes.
that if Donald Trump loses, I know you think he's going to win, but let's just play this out. If he loses, that he will concede?
I'm confident that he's going to win without any question. And yes, I do believe that we will have a fair election. We will honor the results and we will celebrate the 47th president being Donald Trump.
Okay, let me turn to something.
You know what's funny too? You know what's just funny? This is the her. I have to watch what I say on this platform. I got to keep it PG-13 over here. But she's acting as if, if Kamala wins, people will be civil, as if crime won't continue to increase, as if Venezuelan gangs won't be, fighting regular gangs, as if like it won't be all out gang wars in the street and the cities will turn into the ruins, and as if it won't be all out Narnia battles out here, and inner cities will turn into the Hunger Games. She's acting like that's not like happening. Like, oh my gosh, this is the lack of common sense that I'm talking about. And if Kamala Harris wins, she keeps pushing if Donald Trump loses. So if Kamala Harris wins, we're not going to act like people are going to be content and are going to be civil. We're not going to do that. We're not going to play civil and play nice. What I'm saying is people. I'm not talking about conservatives. I'm talking about the people who are in interesting areas that are being directly hit by these policies by the Democrats their lives are getting torn up. Okay. This is going to drive people to, be unstable. All right. Cause this economy is unstable. It's not sustainable. So, I just don't think that, she really has any real points there, any valid points. So that's my thoughts on what she was saying as far as if Donald Trump loses, do you think the conservatives will be able to remain calm? I mean, seriously, seriously, have the liberals remain calm at all this election? Seriously.
That I want to ask you about if he does in fact win, which is he's promising a major role for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in his administration, saying he will let him, quote, go wild on medicine and vaccines. As you know, Kennedy is a big spreader of conspiracy theories about vaccines' safety and efficacy. He also declared yesterday that Trump will push to remove fluoride from public water. Should he have, as Donald Trump has said, a major role in determining America's public health policy?
Well, I think what we should do first is win, Dan, without any question. We're on the cusp of victory, so let's not talk about anything about who's going to serve in the administration until after we actually are declared the winner. There's no doubt that President Trump has surrounded himself with some really fine people. I think of John Ratcliffe, who served as a director of national intelligence, and the really good work that he did. I think what you'll see this time around are the kind of people who want to serve in his administration that reflected the success that we had in 2017 through 2020. So I'm very optimistic that after we win, we'll have a serious conversation about who serves in the cabinet, who serves in the administration, and we'll have strong patriots who love America, who loves Americans, and who want to serve in this cabinet.
You didn't name RFK Jr.
Well, I didn't. You're right, because I'm not going to name anybody that I don't have a personal relationship with, that I don't know how they're going to serve in the cabinet. But I do have strong confidence that this administration will choose highly competent, qualified individuals to do the work that they will be assigned to.
I just want to ask one quick follow-up, and definitely did not expect to be asking you about fluoride in water 2 days before the election. But in 2018, you did introduce legislation.
No voters have, by the way, either.
Yeah. Well, in 2018, you introduced legislation to support fluoride efforts in underserved communities. Since RFK Jr. made this, he did this on social media yesterday, making this announcement that Donald Trump is going to give him support if he's in the White House, and that he will move to eliminate fluoride from water. Are you okay with that as one of the first things that happens in a second Trump term?
Dan, I'm laughing because I can't believe that we're having a conversation about fluoride.
I mean,
take
it up with RFK
Jr. Seriously, I can't take it up with RFK Jr. I'm going to let you do that part because you're good at this part. I'm going to stay in my lane, which is talking about the issues that voters are. Seriously, Dana, we are 48 hours away from the most consequential election in American history, and voters in Michigan, in Ohio, in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, and North Carolina are all talking about crime and unemployment. They're talking about the border. They're talking about 70,000 Americans losing their lives to fentanyl. They're not talking about fluoride.
Yeah, she did not want to hear that. Okay, she did not want to hear any of that.
The really good work that he.
She was like, nah, this is not the answer I'm looking for. He's not falling into the traps. TDS, rage. That's kind of where she was coming from. She kind of wanted to like explode a little bit. And we saw that. We called that out. And yeah, she's kind of just throwing things out there, trying to get a reaction out of them. I think Tim Scott handled this really well. I really think that Dana Bash is just being Dana Bash, and I think she's a cold individual. Really, just really. I think she hates common sense, hates Trump, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I don't understand how these people can fight for their own financial death. I don't understand that. That's really just beyond me. As if Kamala Harris is going to, lead us to the promised land and we're going to be prosperous and life is going to get better and it'll be Candyland. Like, I just don't see that. Like, it's going to be heaven on earth. I just don't see that at all. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Trump necessarily, as far as like, heaven on earth or anything. But I definitely think Trump is healthier for the economy. I definitely think Trump as the president, being a former president at that, is something that makes sense. Unlike Kamala Harris, who has literally been side by side with Biden and has watched people fall, has watched our lives fall apart, and has played a part in our country's downfall. All right, her being the vice president along to Biden, President Biden. So, to see these people fight and go so hard for someone who, knows so little is really just amazing to me. And that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comments. As always, shout out to the King Squad, the King Squad family. Well, the King Squad family, and the King Squad elites. You guys are the bomb.com. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to everyone who donates to the channel and emails me and keeps me updated. I thank you all. You guys are awesome and you're appreciated always. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know how you felt about this interview. Comment down below. I really always enjoy seeing what you guys have to say about this stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.